Hello and welcome to another episode of Behind the Bar. As always, I'm your host, Timmy Tayo, and we've just watched Manchester United go to Craven Cottage and beat Fulham 1-0. And 3 points has moved us away from that 13th position, which we've seemed to occupy throughout the season, albeit just one position above in 12th. But hopefully this would be the start of the upward trajectory that we can sustain throughout the rest of the season. Looking at the game overall, not a lot of chances created by either team. I believe Man United was documented having just one shot on goal, which was the winner by Martinez. And Fulham, yes, they had a few shots, but nothing really threatening. I think both sides played a good defensive game today and canceled each other out. And happy to get 3 points away from home. I think it's safe to say that Man United tend to do better away from home this season. I think the pressure at Old Trafford seems to get to the players, and going away from home as underdogs against Fulham, which is kind of crazy to say out loud, being underdogs at Craven Cottage away at Fulham. But that's the reality of where we are as underdogs. And it's a position that we've seemed to thrive in, right? Where we're not favorites in a game and we tend to rise to the occasion, as I've mentioned a few weeks ago about playing up or down to the opposition. And today was one of those days where certainly Fulham were the favorites coming into this game, and we've managed to keep a clean sheet, put in a good defensive display, and just nick the goal enough to take the 3 points away from Craven Cottage. I want to just focus on 3 takeaways that I have from watching Man United steal all 3 points from Fulham. And first and foremost is the fact that we can now confidently say that Lisandro Martinez is him. When he first came into the Premier League, there were so many doubters, whether it was his height, his physicality, his ability to adapt to the fast pace of the Premier League, having come from Ajax. And he's had a few tricky moments, I think, at the start of his career, but undoubtedly, he silenced all of his critics. Defensively, he's strong, he's fearless, he wins duels, he's great passing out from the back, breaking the lines, and now he's started to add the output offensively in the final third, starting to affect the game in the opposition box. And I believe now it's back-to-back goal contributions with the assist versus Rangers on Thursday and then the winning goal today. And long may that continue. I think if he can continue to affect the game offensively as he does defensively, he can be one of those goal-scoring center backs like we've seen throughout the years, whether it's Sergio Ramos in his days at Real Madrid, or even closer to home with Gabriel at Arsenal, how he manages to find the back of the net for Arsenal and help his team out. And we're seeing Martinez add that to his game now, and it's really helped the team out that has struggled with the creative side, with scoring goals. And it's no surprise when you look at the makeup of the team. With this new Amorim system, we're essentially playing 6 defensive players out of 11, right? You have the 3 center backs, and then you have the 2 wing backs, which are typically defenders, as they were today, and Mazraoui on the left and Diogo Dalot on the right. And then, of course, Manuel Ugarte, who's the deep-lying defensive midfielder in the pivot. And so when you have 6 players out of 11, when you have majority of the players defensive-minded, I think we see how that translates to the lack of chances created, the lack of goal mouth action that we see from game to game. And so when you can have a defender that can step in, arrive late in the box, as Martinez has done, and add goals to help out the team, it really goes a long way. I think until we can get to the summer where Amorim can bring in players to really suit this formation, it's going to be critical that we get goals from everywhere. And Martinez helping the team out offensively as well as doing his defensive duties has made a world of difference, as we've seen over these last 2 games. So long may that continue. Certainly the man of the match for me, Lisandro Martinez. Great job, and let's hope that he can stay fit for the rest of the season and continue to affect the game on both ends of the pitch. Second, I think it's about Toby Collier moving up the pecking order. I mentioned a few weeks ago that Kobe Mainoo had to be wary because Collier was knocking at the door taking a spot. And I think that has actually come to pass. I think that has come to fruition. We've seen over the last few games, Collier has been the one to come off the bench first. And of course, he had his first start against Rangers on Thursday. And again, today coming off the bench before Mainoo. And what a goal line clearance he had from that corner to keep United in the game and help us keep a clean sheet. And I think he's been one of the bright sparks from this season. It's a shame that he got injured earlier in the season and we haven't really seen him up until recently. But he's shown that he's a viable option in that midfield. We talked about the attributes that he brings in terms of his physical play, in terms of his duels, his ability aerially. And I think just that defensive nous that he has makes him, for me, above Mainoo, certainly above Casemiro, Eriksen, and only Manuel Ugarte, I think, is probably the one ahead of him. But outside of that, I think he's probably the guy that's going to be starting pretty soon, whether it's alongside Ugarte or in place of Ugarte. I think Toby Collier has certainly earned the right to at least be in the conversation for a starting spot. So kudos to the young kid. It was great to see Lisandro Martinez giving him his flowers in the post-game interview. Even Amorim talked about how he made a similar goal line clearance in practice on the training pitch and then replicating that again today. So credit to Amorim for giving this kid a chance, and credit to Collier for taking the chance. And I'm pretty sure that we're going to see a lot of him over the next few games and throughout the rest of the season. And that takes me to my third point, which is the favorable schedule that we have over the next month or so. I think our next games, we have FC Basel in the Europa League, where we probably just need a point to secure that automatic qualification to the knockout and avoid a two-legged playoff tie. And then it's Crystal Palace, Ipswich, Everton, games that on paper you would expect Man United to win. So I think the schedule coming up certainly gives the team a chance to carry this momentum. What is it, back-to-back wins? Which I think the last time we had that was in the Europa League before the Man City game and then beating Man City after that. And that's been, 2 months now? So it'd be great to see us ride this wave and use this as a building block. And yes, we've said this quite a few times, whether it was after the Liverpool game or after the Arsenal game, and then we've had disappointing results where we thought we could sort of use those results as springboards to build on the season. But with the schedule that we're looking at over the next few weeks, I think it's a legitimate chance for Amorim to really build momentum, to put points on the board, and get us into the top half of the table and finish the season on a high. I think we have Tottenham sprinkled in there somewhere in the next few weeks, but these are all winnable games on paper anyway. Of course, the team has to go out on the field and do the job, but positive signs, a clean sheet, no injuries, players coming back. I think Lindelof was on the bench today. We're hearing that Mason Mount and Luke Shaw are not too far off. And if we can get a healthy squad with players playing with confidence going into this last third of the season, with the FA Cup still to play for, the Europa League still to play for, I think that we can certainly finish the season on a high, like I said. A few more days in the transfer window, hoping to get resolutions to the Rashford situation. Haven't heard what Amorim said today in this post-match press conference about he'd rather have his, basically I think it's the goalkeeping coach on the bench than Rashford. And then again, the comments about Casemiro at the match press conference about basically Casemiro just not fitting the style of play. I think Ineos need to find a way before this window closes to get both of those players out and use that cap space or that salary space to bring in reinforcements for Amorim. Because, like I said, there's a lot to play for this season with 2 cup competitions and getting into the top half of the table. And so I think that there's a lot to play for. And so we need to make these crucial moves in the market to give ourselves the best chance to finish the season strongly. So great win today, 3 points against the odds. And hopefully we can carry this into the game on Thursday. And then, of course, into the following games in the Premier League moving forward. Happy birthday to Ruben Amorim. Turns 40, I think, tomorrow. Hopefully this would be the step in the right direction to get the team moving on in a positive way and getting points on the board and setting ourselves up for a successful end of the season. Thank you guys for watching. Please like, share, and subscribe, and we'll catch you on the next one. Cheers.